I want to thank the Speaker and the Chair of Housing on this very, very important and historic piece of legislation, which is the Housing Stability and Tenant Protection Act of 2019. And this as it relates to rent control, rent stabilization, vacancy decontrol, increase in rent, and eviction protections, fixes and repairs, all of which is to be repealed. The many of the injustices that slum landlord and their lawyers and the court system have caused our New York tenants to be homeless, unstable, abused, and economically challenged. For a very long time, the rent has been too damn high, and it's still too damn high. I represent the 42nd Assembly District, which represents Flatbush, East Flatbush, Midwood, Ditmas Park, and which also is the highest rate of eviction in Brooklyn. So I'm very proud today because this bill enacts that New York State rent regulation laws are now permanent. Statutory vacancy bonus of up to 20% is now repealed. Repeal the deregulation of units, prohibit preferential rent in its current form, and remain that the rent for the life of the tenancy. Would increase the look-back period for 4 years to 6 years for overcharged claims by landlords. Limit rent-controlled rent increases, capping MCI, which is major capital improvement rent, increase to 2%, down from 6%, and that would redefine the meaning of MCI, where MCI has been exploited by far too many landlords. Reducing IAI costs with a correct and fair amortization rate. Eviction reform, which would have mercy on struggling tenants to give them more time to stay in their apartment, allowing them to come up with the payment. I do hope that in the coming years that we look at succession rights for spousal and immediate families to get on the lease. Again, housing has been one of the biggest issues in my district. I remember 4 years ago, my colleagues and I got arrested mandating for stronger rent laws, and we walked away with a compromise bill. 4 years later, we are here today, and I stand proud, very proud, with all the tenant advocates across the city of New York who has been calling for housing justice for all, calling that housing is a right. Lastly, I want to thank one of my tenants, 85-year-old constituent, immigrant, whose name is Jean Sifwan, who, when I knocked on his door, he presented to me his situation. His situation was a preferential lease that was given to him. After living in his building for many, many years, he was tricked into moving into another apartment for a lower rent, just to find out that his rent would increase significantly. I was moved and I was saddened. But then it was that moment motivated me to fight. So I joined the fight. Today is a great day. Today is a day for justice. I am so proud of my colleagues in government and the advocates, the tenant advocates, for staying strong. Mr. Speaker, I will be voting in the affirmative.